This is day 11 in the Marriage Motivator series, and today we're talking about marriage and money. I'm going to give you just a few nuggets, pun intended, on marriage and money. All right, so you ready? I have 20 nuggets, not chicken nuggets, but just nuggets of information concerning money. And by the way, no, this is not my chest hair sticking out of my chest. I'm just trying a new microphone, okay? So here we go. Number one, my granddaddy used to say, don't spend more than you make. All right, see you later. Bye-bye. All right, just kidding there. I want to talk about debit cards and credit cards. You know, it's so much easier to just put it on the debit card, put it on the credit card. I mean, you can just tap now. Of course, years from now, it's going to be even more easier than that probably. But now you just kind of tap it and it's gone. The expenditure is gone. Well, if you have cash like this, and I hardly ever have cash, but when you have cash, you actually see it leaving your hand to purchase something. And that just costs more to you. And I think it helps you spend less. Now, unless you're really disciplined, I would say don't use credit cards at all, unless, of course, you're going to book a hotel or an airline or something like that. Some folks tithe 10%, save 10%, and spend the West. They do, they really do. It's just an awesome plan. It really is. Let me try that again. So some folks tithe 10%, save 10%, and spend the rest. Not a bad plan. Another thought about money is the sooner you can start investing, the better, even if it's only $25 a month. Have you heard about compound interest? You should look that up and look for an example of compound interest. It'll blow you away. Also, look at high yield savings accounts. We have a couple of those with our kids, and it's just a very flexible plan there. So let me ask you a question. When is Christmas every year? I think it's December 25th, right? And so if you know it's coming, why not plan for it financially? So one of the things that we've done is that we will draft a certain amount of money every month out of our checking account into a Christmas savings account so that when Christmas time comes, we have the money for Christmas. And it really just takes a lot of the stress out of Christmas. However, if I'm really transparent, I will tell you that many times during Christmas when we would receive money from parents, grandparents, or whatever, that usually went to medical bills, dental bills, stuff like that had accumulated throughout the year. So we ain't all peachy cream. Another nugget is whoever is best at money and budgeting money, let them handle that. However, both of you should have a say-so in the budget, and both of you should know what's going on. Some couples will actually contact each other if they're thinking about spending over $50 or whatever your amount is. And that's always a good plan to get the consent of the other spouse before you spend a certain amount of money. I just think that's a wise thing to do. Speaking of $50, you can go to the grocery store now and go get 3 things, and it's going to be about $50. Can I get a witness? Hello. Somebody help. We were counseling a couple one time, and the husband said that he gave the wife $500 a month just to spend on whatever she wanted to. Wow. I'm trying not to say this too loud because I don't want my wife to hear this again. Like I could actually give her $500 a month anyway, right? And know the difference between a want and a need. A want and a need. And that's 2 words you should actually think about a lot whenever you're spending money. And speaking of wants, always budget money for fun or miscellaneous. A miscellaneous item for me would be molten lava cake for dessert. We like hardly ever buy dessert. It's usually because we're not really hungry for it, but it sure is good from time to time. One of the best things we ever did concerning money was to go through Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University at our church. We actually went through it twice in 2 different churches. And it was very eye-opening and really helped us out a lot. We have not gone through all the steps yet, but we are on our way. You can go to one of his conferences, you can check it out on YouTube, or you can buy the book. One of the great things that Dave Ramsey taught us was to give every dollar a name. Give every dollar a name. That is, know exactly where your money is going. And he also talked about the envelope system. Like for groceries, whatever you have budgeted for the month or for the next 2 weeks or whatever, then put that amount of money in an envelope and label it groceries. And when you go to the grocery store, instead of using your debit card or your credit card, use the cash. And whenever the cash is out, then you don't go back to the grocery store. Dave also talks about having one joint account. Unless, of course, you're going to open up an account for business purposes only. But always tell your spouse. Why do I say that? Because I did that one time without telling my spouse. Not a good idea. So lastly, about Dave, I wanted to share with you his 7-step process. Okay, you ready? Number 1 would be save $1,000 for your starter emergency fund. This really helped us out. This past Thanksgiving, we were in Mississippi, and every time I hit the brakes on our SUV, it just squealed and roared, and it was just terrible. Well, I needed new rotors, and so I had a friend mechanic that was there in town in Oxford, Mississippi, and I went to him and bought some rotors. And he was like, man, I'm so sorry it cost so much. I said, dude, it's okay. We have an emergency fund just for things like this. And it was a no stress item. I was able just to pay for it from our emergency fund. So it was a cool thing. So number 2 would be pay off all debt except the house using the debt snowball. And I'll let you Google that. Okay. Number 3 would be save 3 to 6 months of expenses in a fully funded emergency fund. Yes, sir. Number 4 would be invest 15% of your household income in retirement. Number 5 would be save for your children's college fund. Number 6 would be pay off your home early. And then number 7 is build wealth and give. So that's his 7-step process. Another nugget would be don't be a hoarder. If you haven't used something in a year or 5 years, I would challenge you to either give it away or trash it or sell it, because you sure ain't using it. So go ahead and get it out of your house. This is a great nugget, and that is to give generously. The Bible says it's better to give than to receive, and it really is. Somebody once said you never miss what you give away, and you can't outgive God. It's a beautiful thing. And don't be jealous of those that have more than you. Congratulate them. And along those lines, isn't it strange that whenever you see somebody with a lot of money, you think, well, why don't they give some of that money to me? They ought to be more generous with their money. No, instead we should think, well, how can I earn that kind of money? And the key word there is earn. And lastly, do what we did and meet with a financial advisor or somebody that knows how to handle money real well. You'll be glad you did. Now, I'd like for you to go ahead and subscribe. And if you do, I'll send you a molten lava cake. In the next video, I will teach you how to be more attentive to your spouse. And hopefully I will learn and listen as well, because it's getting harder and harder to be attentive with all the distractions that we have these days.